When you learn to scuba dive, you learn a set of skills and you put those skills to practice every dive you do. Kitting up your equipment, clearing your mask, clearing your regulator. And even though you're using those skills every single dive, you probably never improve on those skills. And why would you? I mean, it's not as if clearing a mask is different from one dive to the next. Or is it? Stick around for a challenge designed to help you improve your skills, confidence, coordination, and control underwater. But first, let's break down the 4 skill levels between student diver and dive instructor. Dive skills are only taught at open water and then again at dive master level. And if you don't plan to become a dive master, then you might never upgrade your skills. But as you enter new environments, you're going to be pushed to upgrade your skills or to perform those skills in new and interesting ways. Scuba diving is a 3-dimensional world. You could find yourself upside down going headfirst into the crevice of a rock, or perhaps you're lying on your back and watching sharks pass overhead. Performing the skills you learned in a controlled environment might not be the same way you need to perform those skills in a more challenging environment. And as you'll soon see, even as a dive master or an instructor, you don't necessarily learn to perform these skills in a new way. So raising your skills to the level of a dive master or an instructor is not necessarily the only way that you can improve your dive skills. But what are the differences between beginner dive skills and a dive professional? And how can you improve your skills even if you never take another course? If you want to refresh your knowledge before your next dive, or perhaps you're just getting started in diving and want to know more about what's coming for you in your open water diving course, I'll leave a link in the description to a free course that'll get you started or help to refresh your knowledge before you set off on your next diving vacation. As a student diver, the only thing you need to do is to be able to perform that skill in open water without any assistance. Of course, there's a number of steps between starting to learn the skill and being able to perform the skill on your own without any assistance in open water. First, you'll see a video of the skill, then your instructor will talk you through how to perform that skill, and he'll demonstrate underwater. Then he'll ask you to show him that you can do it, and even if you have some problems, you can still carry on practicing that with the dive master while the instructor works with other students. And you'll get to practice that skill enough until you're comfortable doing it. And when you get to open water, your qualifying dives, the instructor will ask you to show him that you can perform that skill without any assistance. But if somebody were watching you, they'd probably see that the skill is slightly uncomfortable, maybe it's a bit jittery or rushed. You can perform the skill, but it's not a very comfortable and fluid motion, and that's fine. As a student diver, you don't need to perform a skill at any higher level than that. The next level I'd probably class as a confident diver. As a confident diver, you've probably got about 20 dives under your belt. You can perform the skills like they're second nature, and you don't have to think through the process before you clear your mask or clear your regulator. The skills come to you quite naturally because you've been doing them repetitively over a number of dives. And so if somebody watched you perform that skill, they'd see that you were confident, comfortable, and aren't really thinking about how to perform that skill. And that's where skill levels stop. Most divers who get to around 20 dives never improve on those skills. Nothing wrong with that. It's great to be able to perform a skill like second nature, and even if you don't dive for a while, it comes back to you really quickly. It's like riding a bicycle. Muscle memory kicks in, even if you have to go for a refresher course, just to remind yourself that you actually do remember how to do those skills. The next level up is at dive master level. Now, most people will never become a dive master. A dive master is there to assist instructors and to demonstrate skills. Your level at performing these skills is excellent, but at dive master, you start to be taken out of your comfort zone and you are taught to demonstrate those skills. So that if somebody were watching you perform those skills, they would see that you are able to show somebody each individual step in a very clear and deliberate way so that they could perform the skill after you show them how to do it. The biggest difference between a dive master and an instructor is that as a dive master, you're just learning how to demonstrate a skill. And so if somebody watched you demonstrating those skills, the demonstration may be jittery and you might still need to think of how to elaborate on each of those skills. Over time, that will become a lot more fluid. At an instructor level, your dive skills are excellent, they are well polished, and they are fluid in terms of a demonstration quality. If somebody were watching you perform those demonstrations, they would see that they are well polished, they are elaborate, and they are very clear, and you don't need to think about performing them. As you can see, there's no difference in the skills that are performed as a beginner or as an instructor. The only thing that changes is that when you are a student diver, you only need to complete a skill, and an instructor or a dive pro needs to be able to demonstrate that skill in a clear and an elaborate way so that anybody watching them could see and break down the individual steps to accomplish that skill. If you never become a dive master or an instructor, do you even need to improve your skills? And how do you improve your skills if you never take a dive master course? Or even if you are a dive master or an instructor, is the ability to demonstrate a skill as important as it is to be able to perform that skill in a challenging environment? So here's the challenge. Over time, your diving skills are going to improve. You'll find yourself in different conditions, in new environments, and you'll be forced to adapt your skills ever so slightly to accommodate those more challenging environments. Maybe you need to go headfirst down into a cave and water starts to trickle into your nose and you need to clear your mask upside down. Or perhaps you need to enter a wreck and so you have to take off your diving equipment and push it through ahead of you in order to get through the narrow window. And in preparation for those dives, you're going to need to practice. And that might be taking a course or doing a series of test dives before you actually cross that threshold. So to have some fun and to practice for those scenarios, I thought of a way to have some fun and practice either in the pool or in shallow water. And I like to think of this as a trick shot. Now, the trick shot is there to get you out of your comfort zone and also to help you think through scenarios that you might find yourself on a dive. A trick shot is simply a creative way to perform a skill until you're comfortable, confident, and in control. Now, it's impossible for me to come up with every scenario that you might need to use a trick shot when you go diving. And so I thought I'd hand over creative carte blanche to you and challenge you to come up with your own trick shot. Maybe make a video of it and explain the scenario that you might find yourself in where you need to perform a skill in a particular way. Share it with the rest of us and use hashtag DIVETRICK. This is my trick shot. It's an upside down mask clear, and I've already said that you might need to do that if you're heading head down into a cave or perhaps into a shipwreck and you need to clear your mask. You need to start by thinking about where the air needs to go, and it's going to go up, or in this case, down. And over time, as a community, we can build up a range of trick shots that we can share with each other and challenge each other to improve our skill levels given different scenarios. So now I've turned my first dive trick. I'd now like to challenge James from Divers Ready to show us his trick shot. Maybe film it and set it up as a shorts, James, and send it to us using hashtag DIVETRICK. If you want to refresh your knowledge before your next dive, or perhaps you're just getting started in diving and want to know more about what's coming for you in your open water diving course, I'll leave a link in the description to a free course that'll get you started or help to refresh your knowledge before you set off on your next diving vacation.